If Israel wanted to exterminate the Palestinian people, they could have done it in 3 months.
Have you condemned that as a use of human shield?
Was not aware of it.
Is that a war crime?
I don't. You know what? Could be investigated, but God damn it,
it was investigated, Joe.
This is what Hamas does.
Let's hop into a rather spicy debate from Mehdi Hasan with ex-Congressman Joe Walsh on the Israel-Palestine conflict. As the atrocities roll on, the death toll continues to rise, which we'll get into, but be sure to take a second and hit that like button, and let's jump into the video.
Benjamin Netanyahu said they are Amalek. What is Amalek, Joe? In the Bible, Amalek is kill everybody, men, women, children, even the donkeys. That's what Netanyahu said.
Mehdi,
I didn't hear Putin say that.
Mehdi, again, I can find extreme things that members of Israel's government has said.
If Israel, that counts as intent, and that's why they're at the ICJ, and that's why ICJ is investigating him. That's why some of Israel's leading Holocaust scholars have said it's a genocide.
If Israel wanted to exterminate the Palestinian people, they could have done it in 3 months.
That's the worst argument you've ever made in all the time I've made. I'll tell you why. Vladimir Putin could have erased everyone in Ukraine with a nuke.
No.
Yes, he could.
Oh, God, no.
Yes, he could.
Well, with a nuke.
Yeah.
But with a nuke, then...
No, hold on. Your argument is Israel is not genocidal because they haven't killed everyone in Gaza and they could. I'm saying Vladimir Putin could kill everyone in Ukraine and he hasn't. Therefore, according to Joe Walsh's logic, Vladimir Putin is not genocidal.
A different situation in this degree. Israel is capable. From day one, they were capable...
As is Putin.
Well...
This is a horrible argument to use, and for me personally, I don't see how you can be pro-Ukrainian and not pro-Palestinian. It's the same premise of a larger country doing genocidal acts on a smaller territory. The idea that genocide isn't genocide because, well, it could be a worse genocide doesn't resonate with any definition of genocide, which is about the intent behind the actions, not the number or the damage caused by the action, of which Israel has been rather clear of, by the way, and Mehdi points out many instances of it, and literally every part of their government, from Netanyahu to diplomats to like heads of the army. They just want to rid of Gaza. They want to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians. They want to take their land. If Islamophobia wasn't such a pertinent issue, I don't think Israel could even kind of look like the good guy here if they were doing this to, say, Norway or France or a white-facing Western country.
In the US, I see you caring about human rights, civil liberties, democracy, fascism. And then I see Israel, you're on the wrong side completely. So when I look at, for example, that destruction, I don't think you would defend that if it wasn't Israel that was doing it. Similarly, 6-year-old Hind Rajab, you always say Hamas, Hamas, Hamas. This is the great excuse for Israel committing war crimes. You have a 6-year-old girl, Hind Rajab, infamously killed in a car with her 4 cousins, her uncle and aunt, all killed by an Israeli tank that was firing at them. She makes a 911 call. Very, very tragic, horrific call. They send 2 paramedics, the Palestinians, to rescue her. The Israelis killed the paramedics as well in the ambulance. Sky News, the Washington Post have all debunked the Israeli denials that their tank wasn't in the area at the time. The UK independent investigators, Forensic Architecture, they looked at it and said that the Israelis fired 335 bullets into this car and that the tank driver had to have seen that there were children sitting in this car.
It comes down to that perfect blend of circumstance that leads so many Americans to be pro-Israel blindly without any questioning. The religious aspect of it being considered the Holy Land and mentioned in the Bible to be for the Jews, the Islamophobia against Arabs largely since 2001, 9/11 in this country, the AIPAC influence on politicians that has led to decades of consistent messaging on the issue from both parties, really, where now, when even as Mehdi is pointing out very clear acts of violence purported against civilians, children at that, even now Israel walking back parts of their own ceasefire deal. A food truck hasn't entered Gaza in 7 days, yet Hamas is the only one that we're hearing reporting on, oh, are they going to stick to the ceasefire deal? But nobody cares when Israel does it. Yet again, if it was Hamas, it would be an uproar.
You can do whataboutism all you want. Again, that's what MAGA people do here. When you ask them about MAGA, what do? They blame the Democrats. So let's not play that game. Let's ask you about Israel.
Mehdi, it's not the MAGA game. I'm going to say yes, Israel's made mistakes. I'm going to say yes.
War crimes.
Israel,
no, I'm asking war crimes.
Israel, call it what you want. Israel.
No, I'm asking you to call it.
And I'm going to tell you. I don't know. I'm going to tell you.
No, Joe.
No,
I'm not going to let you run away with it. You can shout all you want. 335 bullets fired into a car with children. Is that a war crime?
I don't. You know what? Could be investigated. But God damn it,
it was investigated, Joe.
This is what Hamas does all the time.
Right. Joe,
hiding behind civilians is a war crime. You know what slays me about you?
By the way, you said I see you say this all the time.
What?
Hiding behind civilians, hiding behind civilians. And yet when Israelis actually use Palestinians as human shields, you don't say anything. Last week it emerged, I checked your Twitter, Joe, you can correct me.
What?
Last week it emerged that an 80-year-old man, Israeli press reported, was being used as a human shield. They were taking him into houses, putting him in front of them, an actual human shield. Right, they were using a Palestinian man.
But
they've done that many times. Do you know they've sent? Let me finish the sentence. They sent Palestinians into tunnels in Gaza. Have you condemned that as? Have you condemned that as a use of human shields?
Was not aware of it, and if I was aware of it, I'd condemn it.
Yeah, see, whataboutism, the whole, well, what about this, is supposed to be used as comparison. Oh, look at this bad thing that is similar to what's happening. That means that both bad. But those who don't have a leg to stand on in an argument will typically try to obfuscate by using it as contrast instead. Oh, look at this bad thing that's similar. It means my bad thing doesn't matter or is good, which literally has no logical backing. It's just used to distract. Like, oh, let's talk about this instead of what I'm doing. Here's the reality. Hamas has done tons of bad things and should absolutely cease to exist and be in power. Israel has also done tons of very bad things. The people who have purported those bad things, like Netanyahu, like his cabinet, like these far-right extremists, also should cease to be in power. But Israel has the capability to do this at a larger scale, and that's why we should be trying to reel it in, especially when we're the one enabling that larger scale, not shamelessly backing it with no conditions, with no leverage to stop them when they're using our weapons to carry out genocide, which is also like against our law. We're not supposed to send weapons to a country that is using them to carry out human rights violations. What Mehdi is describing is so obviously a war crime. The inability to just admit that from the pro-Israeli side speaks more volumes than any argument they could make.